Good evening. You're watching the news tonight, your daily roundup of all that has happened across India and the world. I'm Ishan Russell, and these are the headlines that we're tracking this evening. Vice President Hamid Ansari chairs all-party meeting ahead of budget session, focus on developing consensus for smooth functioning of the House after 2 unproductive sessions. Fierce encounter underway in Srinagar, near hostage situation averted as terrorists killed 2 Jawans and injured 10 others. Haryana reels under violent protests for Jat reservations, curfew imposed in 5 towns, 4 die in police firing, taking the toll up to 5. And India and Nepal signed 9 agreements on power and connectivity after delegation-level talks. Nepalese Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli says recent misunderstandings no longer exist. Our top story this evening, Rajya Sabha Chairman Mohammad Hamid Ansari held discussions with leaders of all parties of the upper house to discuss proceedings during the budget session of Parliament that begins on the 23rd of February. In the meeting that was attended by the Prime Minister and leaders of all political parties, the opposition demanded that a debate on the JNU row and the Rohit Vemula incident be held during the budget session. However, the 2 sides agreed to pass a bill without discussion in Rajya Sabha. The bill pertains to the delimitation exercise in West Bengal to grant voting rights to people who came to India from Bangladeshi enclaves. The government had on Friday urged the opposition not to be a disruptive opposition, stressing that dissent, disruption and disturbance shouldn't dominate debate, discussion and decision.
जिन मुद्दों पे बात होनी थी, जिन बिलों पर चर्चा होनी थी, उन सभी पर चर्चा हुई है। बहुत सकारात्मक और बहुत रचनात्मक चर्चा हुई है और सभी ने इस बात को संकल्प लिया है, सभी ने इस बात का आश्वासन दिया है, सभी ने इस बात के लिए कहा है कि जो सत्र होगा वो सुचारू रूप से चलेगा, रचनात्मक रूप से चलेगा।
ऑन मेरिट जो भी बिल ज़रूरी होगा उस बिल को हम पास करने में ज़रूर मदद करेंगे। यूनिवर्सिटी JNU के अंदर, फिर कोर्ट के अंदर घटना हुई, फिर हैदराबाद यूनिवर्सिटी के अंदर जो घटना हुई उन पे चर्चा होनी चाहिए। जो पिछली दफ़ा डिस्कस नहीं हुए हैं, जैसे प्राइस राइज नहीं हुआ है, जो किसानों की जो हालत इस दफ़ा हो रही है, आत्महत्या किसान कर रहे हैं, इन तमाम चीज़ों पर भी चर्चा होनी चाहिए।
After the meeting also, I raised this issue with the Prime Minister informally. I did raise the issue in the last meeting in your presence under your chairmanship. Now I am raising this. What government is doing is not acceptable, and this witch hunt cannot go on in JNU campus, and cases must be withdrawn.
हम चाहते हैं कि सभी इशू डिस्कस हो, और जैसे कि JNU का इशू है, किसान का आत्महत्या हो रहा है, सारे इशू डिस्कस किया जाए। साथों साथ जो गवर्नमेंट बिजनेस है वो भी ट्रांजैक्ट हो। जी जी, मतलब जितने बिल पेंडिंग है, जी अभी 54 बिल्स पेंडिंग है, जी जी जी, उसमें से जो अहम बिल जो है उसको तो पास होना चाहिए।
A near hostage situation was avoided in Pampore near the Srinagar-Jammu highway when at least 100 people were evacuated from a training institute during a standoff between terrorists and the security forces. The terrorists, who are said to be 3 to 5 in number, killed 2 Jawans and injured 10 others before they sneaked into the Entrepreneurship Development Institute on the outskirts of Srinagar city. The injured people include a civilian whose condition is reported to be critical. The terrorists attacked a CRPF convoy on the highway before this, and the army personnel rushed to the encounter site to assist the local police and the CRPF. Intermittent exchange of fire was reported from the spot where the encounter is still going on.
National highway is our lifeline, and it's becoming insecure as a matter of very serious concern to everybody, including the traveling public. Their ability to strike, as they have shown earlier also. We may recall the attack on the BSF patrol near Udhampur, then attack near Sangam, is something which have a psychologically potential of creating a sense of insecurity.
And the quota stir by the Jat community has taken a turn for the worse, with incidents of violence and arson reported from several districts of Haryana. 4 persons were killed on Saturday, while several others were injured as security personnel opened fire during violent protests in Rohtak and Jhajjar. The toll has now gone up to 5. Curfew has been extended to 5 towns. The violence continues despite appeals from the Chief Minister. The Chief Minister appealed to agitators, saying his government has accepted the demands of the community, which is seeking quota under the OBC category. But the agitators want a written assurance from the government.
As violence due to the quota stir by the Jat community spread, curfew has been clamped in at least 5 towns, the latest being Sonipat and Gohana. Curfew had already been clamped in Rohtak, Bhiwani and Jhajjar towns.
देखिए रणनीति एक ही है, ज्यादा से ज्यादा समर्थक हमारे, ज्यादा से ज्यादा जाट समुदाय के हमारे बच्चे इससे जुड़े और जो हमारे 4 बच्चों का लहू रोडों पे बहा है वो व्यर्थ ना जाए और हम ये या तो आरक्षण मुक्त समाज हो या जाटों को भी उनमें एक सम्मानजनक स्थान मिले।
14 तारीख से लेके अब तक हमने एक ही डिमांड करी है, उससे अलग हमारी कोई डिमांड नहीं है। हमें जाट आरक्षण चाहिए और वो हम हर कीमत पर लेकर रहेंगे। उसके लिए चाहे हमें सरकार से लड़ना पड़े, चाहे किसी से भी लड़ना पड़े, और हम हर सिचुएशन से लड़ने के लिए बिल्कुल तैयार हैं।
अगर हमें आरक्षण नहीं देते तो सबको एक साथ कर दे। जो पढ़ रहे बच्चे हैं वो पढ़ाई के मनोबल पर उनको सबको अधिकार मिले। जो पढ़ेंगे वही आगे जाएंगे, चाहे किसी को नहीं हो चाहे हमारे को भी हो।
या आरक्षण
खत्म करो।
Protesters have blocked the NH1 near Nangal village in Sonipat district. Blockades were also put up at least 3 places on NH73. With the state on the boil, Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar held a key meeting with his ministers and top officials to take stock of the situation. Top bureaucrats, including the Chief Secretary and Principal Secretary Home and the State DGP, also attended the meeting.
मैं अपील करना चाहूँगा कि कृपया जो भी हमारी मांग है वो सब हम मानने के लिए तैयार हैं। सरकार ने पहले से भी इन सब विषयों पर अपना मंतव्य जाहिर कर दिया है कि इस आरक्षण में हम जो भी संवैधानिक व्यवस्था अथवा कानून की व्यवस्था अथवा कोर्ट के माध्यम से जितने अवरोध आए हुए हैं उनको सब दूर करने के लिए हम जनता के साथ खड़े हैं।
इस देश में लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था है। लोकतंत्र में हिंसा के माध्यम से किसी समस्या का समाधान नहीं हो सकता। यदि कोई भी समस्या है तो समस्या का मिल बैठकर समाधान निकल सकता है। इसलिए मैं पुनः अपील करना चाहता हूं कि हरियाणा राज्य में शांति व्यवस्था बनाए रखने में मेरे हरियाणा के सभी बहन भाई पूरी तरह से सहयोग करें।
The Chief Minister's appeal, however, has been in vain as the quota stir continues to be violent. In a fresh incident on Saturday, protesters torched a railway station and several buses in Jind. The army conducted a flag march in several places including Rohtak, Bhiwani, Karnal, Hisar and Jind in a bid to calm the situation.
पूरे स्टेट के हालातों को मद्देनजर रखते हुए हमने पूरा तैयारी कर ली है। हमारे पास सफिशेंट पुलिस फोर्स है। इसके अतिरिक्त हमारे पास स्पेशलाइज्ड कमांडो फोर्स भी है और आर्मी की भी हमारे पास सफिशेंट स्ट्रेंथ है। किसी भी व्यक्ति को कानून अपने हाथ में नहीं लेने दिया जाएगा। कोई भी इस तरीके की घटना होती है जहां हिंसा होती है वहां हम बिल्कुल सख्ती से निपटेंगे और आगे फ्यूचर में किसी तरीके की हिंसा ना हो इसके लिए भी हम पूरी तरह से सतर्क हैं।
State ministers also continued to be targeted by the protesters. A mob today pelted stones at the house of senior Haryana minister O.P. Dhankar. No one was injured in the incident. Dhankar is among the more prominent Jat politicians in the state.
ये बड़ी दुखद और दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण घटना हुई है। मेरा सभी बिरादरी के भाइयों से ये आग्रह है कि आपस में भाईचारा बना के रखें और आंदोलनकारियों से ये मेरा आग्रह है कि कोई भी जान और माल का नुकसान ना करें और सरकार से ये है कि संयम से काम करें और जल्दी से जल्दी इसका निपटारा करें।
अभी अनऑफिशियली हम बातचीत कर रहे हैं आपस में। सबसे पहली बात तो ये किसी तरह से हरियाणा में शांति हो। लोगों से अपील है कि अपने घरों को वापस लौट जाएं। हिंसा किसी भी समस्या का समाधान नहीं। सरकार पूरी तरह से पॉजिटिव है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी पहले आश्वस्त कर चुकी है, सिर्फ तरीका ढूंढा जा रहा है कि तरीका क्या हो आरक्षण देने का। पहले से ये बात है, ये बात आपके द्वारा पहुंचाना चाहते हैं लोगों से। शांति बनाए रखें, निश्चित रूप से मुझे लगता है आरक्षण होगा।
With protesters squatting on railway tracks, rail services have also been severely affected on several routes, including Delhi-Ambala, Delhi-Amritsar, Delhi-Hisar-Fazilka and Hisar-Dhuri sections. As many as 37 trains have been cancelled, while 22 have been partially affected. Meanwhile, in Delhi, top union ministers, including Rajnath Singh, Manohar Parrikar, Arun Jaitley and Sushma Swaraj met and reviewed the law and order situation in the state. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Fearing that the Jaj agitation may severely affect water supply in Delhi over the next few days, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has directed the Delhi Jal Board to approach the Supreme Court seeking urgent hearing over the crisis. Delhi Water Minister Kapil Mishra held an emergency meeting with DJB officials on Saturday and decided to ration water supply till the situation normalizes. Protesters have broken gates of the Munak Canal, due to which water supply will be affected across the national capital. Chief Minister Kejriwal spoke to his Haryana counterpart Manohar Lal Khattar and Home Minister Rajnath Singh to discuss the situation.
पानी की सप्लाई में तो हमारे अभी से कमी आनी शुरू हो गई है। कल रात को कुछ देर के लिए मुनक नहर बंद थी, फिर रात को चालू हुई और देर रात ये खबर आई कि दोबारा बंद है। दूसरी डायरेक्शन से 1000 क्यूसेक पानी छुटवाया गया था, लेकिन उसमें अमोनिया की मात्रा ज़्यादा है, जिससे वजीराबाद और चंद्रावल ये दोनों प्लांट हमारे अफेक्टेड हैं। हम लोग 24 घंटे मॉनिटरिंग कर रहे हैं। हमने एक टीम वहाँ पर भेजी भी हुई है मुनक कैनाल पर देखने के लिए कि किसी तरह से पानी की सप्लाई जल्दी से जल्दी शुरू हो जाए। उसके अलावा केंद्र सरकार से बात की है, हरियाणा के चीफ सेक्रेटरी से बात की है। ये मुनक नहर का पानी नहीं खुलता है तो पानी की सप्लाई प्रभावित होगी बहुत ज़्यादा।
The rebel Congress leader Kaliko Pul took oath as the new Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh late last night. However, speculations are rife that the state could see the dissolution of the 60-member assembly, paving way for early elections in the state.
I, Kaliko Pul,
Capping 2 months of political crisis, dissident Congress leader Kaliko Pul was sworn in as the 9th Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh late on Friday night. Pul is backed by 18 of the 45 Congress MLAs in the 60-member House. 13 opposition MLAs, including 2 independents and 11 BJP MLAs, are supporting him from outside.
नबम तुकी भी हमारे साथ मिलके हम काम करेंगे। हम लीडर से थोड़ा पार्टी बड़ा पार्टी है, छोटा मोटा जो मतभेद होता है, डिफरेंसेस होता है, वो इनर डेमोक्रेसी है, वो हमेशा होता है। स्टेट लेवल में अपना जो पीसीसी लेवल में जो हम लोग ने असेंबली में, सीएलपी में और कैबिनेट में जो रेस किया है उसको सुनवाई नहीं हुआ है। उसके लिए केवल हम लोग एआईसीसी जो हाई कमांड्स के सामने हम इश्यूज को रखने के लिए गया है।
Former Chief Minister Nabam Tuki, whose petition seeking a floor test to prove his majority was rejected by the Supreme Court. Tuki has written to Governor J.P. Rajkhoha to reinstate him as the Chief Minister, since he was the leader of the Congress Legislature Party.
डेमोक्रेटिकली नहीं हुआ है, मेजॉरिटी पार्टी को मौका नहीं दिया है, उसको बुलाना चाहिए था। लेकिन जो पार्टी से ब्रेक अवे पार्टी जो डिसिडेंट ग्रुप को, जो डिस्क्वालीफाइड ग्रुप को बुला के सरकार बनाने दिया, ये तो गैर कानूनी तो है।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended best wishes to the new leader today. Meanwhile, the Congress said the party will fight a constitutional battle to regain Arunachal Pradesh.
वो कोर्ट में गए थे, कोर्ट ने भी उनकी किसी भी पहलू को संवैधानिक रूप से सही नहीं माना, कानूनी रूप से सही नहीं माना, और उसके बाद जो है वो जो संवैधानिक प्रक्रिया है, जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोसेस है, उस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल प्रोसेस के तहत वहां पर आगे काम हो रहा है।
The formation of a government in Arunachal Pradesh is a sledgehammer blow to federalism. The central government has used the office of the governor in order to create instability.
Pul started his political career in 1995 when he was elected as an MLA from Hayuliang constituency. He is the longest serving finance minister under various chief ministers. A revolt by Congress dissidents led by Pul triggered a political crisis that finally led to the imposition of President's rule on 26th of January. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Delhi police has issued lookout notices for 3 JNU students, Omar Khalid, Anirban Bhattacharya and Awasthi. All 3 are alleged to have been part of protests on the university campus against Parliament attack convict Afzal Guru's hanging on the 9th of February. The police has asked the Foreign Regional Registration Office to alert airport authorities to ensure that they did not leave the country. Investigators have also recorded statements of over a dozen JNU students who were witnesses. The special cell has also been roped in for search operations across cities. Time now to take a look at what else has been making news around the country nationwide. A team of investigators will visit India next month from Pakistan to collect evidence on the Pathankot airbase attack. Pakistani media reports that investigators will visit the site of the attack. India has said that the terror strike was planned in Pakistan and executed by 6 terrorists of the Jaish-e-Mohammed outfit. The investigators will also meet officials of the NIA who are investigating the attack. A Delhi court today exempted Congress President Sonia Gandhi and Vice President Rahul Gandhi from personal appearance in the National Herald case. The relief followed a Supreme Court directive in this regard. Sam Pitroda will also granted bail in the case, while Sonia, Rahul and others are already out of bail. An oil tanker toppled over on the Mumbai-Pune expressway this morning, causing a massive traffic jam between the two cities. Highway police diverted traffic to the old highway, causing jams on the other route too. The accident comes in the wake of closing down of one of the 4 lanes of the expressway from the 22nd of February to the 11th of March for maintenance. Time for us to take a short break. That's lots more on the other side. Do stay tuned.
Wake up to a complete roundup of news from India and abroad. Politics, strategy, business, sports. Keen analysis to kickstart your day. Watch Breakfast News weekdays at 8 a.m. on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Now, India and Nepal today signed 9 agreements after delegation-level talks between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Nepalese counterpart, KP Sharma Oli. Oli said both nations have ironed out misunderstandings that persisted in the past few months.
India signed 9 agreements with Nepal after talks between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his counterpart KP Sharma Oli. These agreements relate to laying power lines between Muzaffarpur and Nepal, ensuring road connectivity and cooperation on connectivity between Visakhapatnam port and Nepal.
हिमालय की अखंडता तथा गंगा की पवित्रता हमारे सशक्त संबंधों के साक्षी है। सीमाओं के खुले द्वार हमारी जनता के आपसी संबंधों को परिभाषित करते हैं। एक धनी संस्कृति और परंपरा के हम साझे उत्तराधिकारी हैं। नेपाल में शांति, स्थिरता और उसका आर्थिक विकास हमारा साझा उद्देश्य है।
Oli said that the purpose behind his India visit is to remove recent misconceptions over relations between the two countries. Prime Minister Modi has underscored the fact that Nepal needs to take everyone along on its constitution.
दशकों के संघर्ष के उपरांत नेपाल के संविधान की रचना और उसकी घोषणा एक महत्वपूर्ण उपलब्धि है, किंतु इसकी सफलता सहमति और संवाद पर निर्भर है। मुझे विश्वास है आप नेपाल के संविधान से जुड़े सभी मुद्दों का संतोषजनक निवारण कर नेपाल को प्रगति और स्थिरता की राह पर अवश्य ले जाएंगे।
For Nepal, relations with India are important. India is our biggest trade and development partner, largest source of foreign direct investment, and the provider of vital transit facilities.
Nepal's Prime Minister also met President Pranab Mukherjee at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Oli also met Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari, Home Minister Rajnath Singh and Finance Minister Arun Jaitley. Two memorandums of understanding of $1 billion each committed to Nepal during the visits of Modi and Swaraj to the Himalayan nation are also likely to be inked during Oli's visit. During his 6-day state visit, Oli will make a trip to Dehradun for a hydropower project and relocation site in Bhuj to take lessons for rehabilitation of those displaced during the 2015 earthquake. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The contest for Republican and Democratic contenders to become presidential candidates in the U.S. has entered its third round. Polls have already opened in the Republican primary vote in South Carolina, where frontrunner Donald Trump will try to fend off Ted Cruz. Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders could face a close race in the Democratic Party caucus in Nevada.
After Iowa and New Hampshire, the U.S. presidential contest will see another significant stop on Saturday. For Democrats, it is the Nevada caucuses, and for the Republicans, the South Carolina primary. With different demographics, interesting contests are lined up in both the camps. On the Democratic side, 35 delegates are up for grabs in Nevada. Nevada is supposed to be a Hillary country, but Clinton is on a shaky ground after Bernie Sanders pulled even in New Hampshire, where she once led by more than 20 points. Clinton brought her husband, former President Bill Clinton, and daughter Chelsea on the campaign trail, while Sanders took his populist message to rural Nevada.
Is the Republicans have been after me for years, and I'm still standing. So let's go caucus tomorrow. Let's get on the path. Let's win this election. Let's make sure our country stays on the path of progress into the future.
Brothers and sisters, what this campaign is essentially about is whether we have a political system and an economy which is controlled by a handful of billionaires, or whether we have an economy and political system which is controlled by ordinary Americans.
Meanwhile, in South Carolina primary, the race became tighter after a nasty week of campaigning. Despite a formidable lead, Donald Trump's overall strength will be tested. This after a bruising debate last weekend and slippage in the national poll. His rivals, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, and Jeb Bush, the former governor of Florida, are closing in on him. South Carolina is the first state where African Americans represent a significant percentage of the population. Religious voters also have great sway here.
Barack Obama, African American. If I were African American, I would be so angry at him. I will do more for the African American people than Barack Obama has ever done.
The two main U.S. political parties are in the middle of a nationwide process to choose their nominees for the next presidential election. Each party holds a caucus or a primary in most of the 50 states, and the results determine how many delegates are assigned to each candidate. The presidential nominee is officially declared at the party's national conventions. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, British Prime Minister David Cameron today sealed a deal for special status in the European Union after a marathon summit on Friday. The unanimous agreement came after 2 days of intense negotiations in Brussels. Later in the day, Cameron announced a national referendum will be held on the 23rd of June on whether the United Kingdom shall remain in the European Union.
Morning all. Good morning, good morning.
It is a deal. After hours of painstaking negotiations in Brussels, David Cameron has reached an agreement with his European partners to give the UK, as he puts it, a special status in the EU.
Within the last hour, I've negotiated a deal to give the United Kingdom special status inside the European Union. Is this really
Before heading home to present the details to his cabinet, the British Premier hailed the success over key demands.
That is right for
Among the package of measures that were struck in the New Deal are an emergency brake on migrants' in-work benefits for 4 years when there are exceptional levels of migration. The UK will be able to operate the brake for 7 years. Child benefit for children of EU migrants living overseas will now be paid at a rate based on the cost of living in their home country. The amending of EU treaties to state explicitly that references to the requirement to seek ever closer union do not apply to the United Kingdom, meaning Britain can never be forced into political integration. The ability for the UK to enact an emergency safeguard to protect the City of London, to stop UK firms being forced to relocate into Europe, and to ensure British businesses do not face discrimination for being outside the Eurozone. EU's top figures Donald Tusk and Jean-Claude Juncker presented its 28 leaders with draft proposals after hours of painstaking face-to-face talks.
We have just achieved a deal which strengthens Britain's special status in the European Union. It is a legally binding and irreversible decision by all 28 leaders. The settlement addresses all of Prime Minister Cameron's concerns without compromising our fundamental values.
No country has ever voted to leave the Union, and many leaders said they felt they were at a historic turning point for European integration.
Wir glauben, dass wir damit David Cameron ein Paket an die Hand gegeben haben, mit dem er in Großbritannien werben kann für einen Verbleib Großbritanniens in der Europäischen Union. Genau an diesem Ziel hat er keinen Zweifel gelassen.
Now the big question in the coming months will be whether the British Prime Minister can convince voters that after this deal, EU membership will be worth it. This may well be the bigger task for Cameron than the agreement at the summit. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The International Monetary Fund appointed Christine Lagarde for a second term as managing director. Lagarde is backed by the UK, Germany, China and her home country France for a 5-year term. Lagarde, a former French finance minister, took over as the head of the IMF in 2011 after Dominique Strauss-Kahn resigned amid a sex scandal. She became the first woman to lead the international organization that is based in Washington, D.C. In her first term, Lagarde won praise from developing countries for providing greater practical support for their efforts to recover from the financial crash and backing their demands for greater representation on the IMF board. She will officially start her second term on the 5th of July.
So you have in front of you the current, to-be former and future managing director of the IMF. I have been honored to serve in the last 5 years. We have, I think, served the membership well, whether we have provided surveillance, financial support to those who were in difficulties, or technical assistance and capacity building. It has been a very enthusiastic experience for me.
Some more international news now in Global Buzz. Fiji declared a nationwide curfew as Cyclone Winston intensified today. People were told to seek refuge from the weather disturbance that could prove to be the nation's most powerful one. The cyclone is currently approaching west towards Suva, packing winds of 230 kilometers per hour. Violence broke out in Uganda yesterday amid reports that President Museveni is all set to extend his 30-year rule after taking a strong lead in an election. Museveni had 60% of the vote ahead of his nearest challenger, who secured 35% vote. In fact, the challenger was briefly arrested on Friday as he tried to dispute the results. Senior UN officials warned of escalating intercommunal violence and rampant human rights violations in South Sudan. The Security Council strongly recommended provocations against civilians and the UN and called for calm on all sides. The statement came after violence erupted in a UN compound on the 17th of February, resulting in the death of more than 18 people and injuries to 50 others. Two suicide bombers killed at least 19 people and injured 50 others in a market in northern Cameroon. Two men blew themselves up early yesterday morning. There is no official claim of responsibility for the attack, but officials point to the Boko Haram. A Kurdish-led force backed by the US-led airstrikes seized an IS stronghold in northeastern Syria. The Syrian Democratic Forces were in full control of the town of Al-Shadadi on Friday. The announcement follows earlier reports that the SDF were just 3 miles away from Al-Shadadi. Well, that's the news tonight. Good night.